I was recently able to visit Carowinds in North and South Carolina, and this park is awesome, but I'm not here to review the park. I'm going to be giving you guys my top 10 roller coasters at Carowinds. Before I start, I do want to give an honorable mention to the four coasters that did not make this list. The first one being the Carolina Gold Rusher, which is the Aerodynamics Mine Train coaster. And then the three coasters that I actually was not able to ride, which was the Kitty Hawk, Wilderness Run, and Woodstock Express, which are all located in Camp Snoopy. Anyways, coming in at the number 10 spot, I have Ricochet, which is the Mack Rides coaster located in the Carolina Boardwalk section. And this ride actually is basically a Wild Mouse layout. It's back and forth zigzagging, and it really just is pretty intense on the turns, but they are kind of painful as well. Nothing really else is good in this ride, except maybe the little pops of airtime that you get. But that is basically it for that coaster. Coming in right after that in number 9 is the Flying Cobras Boomerang Coaster. And this is actually by Vekoma, and it is actually super smooth compared to the other boomerangs that I have ridden. The over the shoulder restraints were not the typical hard bars, I guess you could call them, but they were more of a padding that is more used in like B&M. They were a bit different, but it still was very comfortable, and I did not actually have a headache when coming off of it. It wasn't the smoothest ride though. I still had a lot of banging around, but it was pretty comfortable overall. Coming in at the 8 spot, I have Carolina Cyclone, which is the Aero corkscrew coaster at the park. And this coaster actually has a double loop and then two corkscrews after that, which give a good amount of hang time in. So overall, this coaster was pretty fun, although there was a bit of head banging on the restraints. In my number 7 spot, I have Nighthawk, and this ride actually brought back a good amount of memories since it is a Vekoma flying coaster, and it actually brought back memories of Firehawk from Kings Island, which is now closed. So it was really nice to see ride another flying coaster almost identical. They are very close in layout, but I will say that Nighthawk was not as good as Firehawk. Nighthawk is more rattly, so it takes away from the experience a lot. So that rattliness actually broke the ride for me. I thought it was very forceful, and you felt like you were actually flying on it if it wasn't so rattly. I think it would have probably placed a bit higher. And coming in at the number 6 spot, I have Vortex, which is their stand up coaster at Carowinds. And despite what people say about it hurting a lot, I found this coaster to actually be very unique and fun. Although, if you ride it too many times and ride it in the wrong spots on the coaster, it does hurt a lot. But the front row I actually found to be okay. And since it was a stand-up coaster, it was actually my very first stand-up coaster I've ever ridden. It was very actually unique and fun. So despite the kind of jerkiness to it, I did find this ride to be unique and fun. That's why it did place pretty high on the list compared to other rides. Starting off the top 5 for Carowinds, I have Hurler, which is one of the two only wooden coasters in this park. Well, the other one being the Woodstock Express at Planet Snoopy. So I do believe that this park does need another wooden coaster, something from maybe GCI or something like that, so that they can get a good wooden coaster, new wooden coaster, and a big one. But anyway, talking about this ride as a whole, it was very fun, very fast, and despite what the camera shows, it was actually really smooth. All the hills were very fun. You got good ejector and floater airtime in it, and when you hit the turns, you didn't get slammed into the side of the car. You actually were just kind of elegantly pushed against it. It didn't hurt at all, which is awesome. Seeing how old this coaster really is. At the number 4 spot, I have the park's Hypercoaster. This is Intimidator, which not to be confused with Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. This roller coaster is made by B&M and it has these seats that are two next to each other, and then the next row is split seats, and then it alternates. So it's a hypercoaster, and surprisingly, it had good forces and it had good speed. But the one thing that did let me down on this ride was the airtime. I was not thrown out of my seat at all, and it was really disappointing. But something that I was really actually happy with this ride, though, is I got a triple run on this coaster. I was able to stay on 3 times in a row, but this ride just really kind of disappointed in a way because the airtime really wasn't there, but the speed and the height and everything else was. So that's why I had to rate this coaster not near the top three, or it is near the top three, but not in the top three. Moving into the top three for Carowinds, I have the third place coaster, Afterburn. And this is actually the inverted coaster at the park, and it has so much energy in this coaster. It is so fast, it is super intense. All of these elements are perfectly paced. It gets through some hang time, and some are just you're slammed at the back of your seat. And actually, one time I rode this coaster, I was almost blacking out because of the energy and G forces, which is amazing. I like to see that in roller coasters. I think that makes them more fun. But it was a little bit jerky in some areas, and the restraints really did not help that. But other than that, it really was an amazing ride. So, this decision may startle and surprise a lot of you guys, but let me explain my thinking here. So, I put Fury 325 as the second place coaster. This is the Giga Coaster at Carowinds, and don't get me wrong, no discredit to this. This roller coaster is an amazing ride. It is super forceful, super fast. It has amazing airtime. It is so smooth, and honestly, I wish, or I really hope that the Kings Island Giga Coaster is going to be able to match this because it is an amazing ride. But the next coaster is going to have a lot of the same things to it, and really, all it really is going to come down to is personal preference. Um, I prefer I don't really care for the height of coasters, even though that this one is crazy high and it is very scary being up that high. But this coaster just brings it all, and I if I could, I would put both of these coasters at the first place, tied for first place, but I'm going to put this one at number 2 because I prefer the other one more. That leaves only one coaster at this park, which is Copperhead Strike, the new 2019 coaster at this park. And this coaster brings it all, just like Fury. They are different though. Fury has the height and the speed. This coaster more has hang time, which is practically the biggest thing of this coaster that brings it. It is the hang time is insane. This pre-show is even great, but and then it's just element after element, and you're thrown out of your seat every which way, and it's just an amazing ride experience. I'm actually going to be doing a review on this coaster in a couple of videos, so hopefully you guys are going to be stay tuned for that. But this coaster is just insanely crazy, amazing. Even this top hat, like the launches aren't all too forceful, but the hang time that you get because they're not forceful is insane. Every loop is basically hang time after hang time, and then you get thrown out of your seat on every curve. So it's just an amazing ride, and yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys want to see the Copperhead Strike review that I'm gonna do. But until I see you guys next time, thanks for watching and make sure to have an amazing day.